Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
Wow, look at the shade in the comments section right away. You guys have no faith in us. These over-under bets. Let's see here. Rowdy Rides. I'm going with a 10:09 start time. Yep. Brandon says 10:13 start time. Under. Is my guess. What time is it, AJ? Filling in for Declan.
Let me just check my watch. 10:02? 10:02 in the morning?
So full disclosure, I got a note last night from Age with Dex out that said, we start at 10, so be ready at 10.
Yeah.
I run a tight ship.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow, okay. Because, Dex is always like, 10:09, whatever. So I was just very impressed by Age.
Dex is on Dex time, yeah. We will take this opportunity to throw Declan straight under the bus, even though it is never his fault when we do start late. Usually, to pull back the curtain, we are recording something else between like 9 and 10 o'clock Central Time. And because, we have takes on things, especially if it's flagrant howls these days, that usually spills over, and then now we're behind our schedule. But it's Declan's fault. AJ is a militant producer who keeps us corralled here. So, Judd, let's start the party at Kwik Trip. Do you think Kwik Trip has anything to fix my voice? Like, do they have it? I'm sure they do. They must have something.
Some tea or something like that, right?
Yeah, they probably do.
In fact, you know what? I bet you can
hot
find
pizza.
I bet you can find honey there. I bet you can. You know why? Because you can find so many things that you need at Kwik Trip. You talk about, you know what? Any time of day. You can start late. You can start early. Whenever you start, Kwik Trip's going to be there for you. And they are always going to provide basically everything that you need. As I've been talking about, it's like a grocery store, but it's easier than that because it's quicker. Look at this right here. And in particular, let me tell you about the chicken, because it's no ordinary chicken at Kwik Trip. Hand-breaded, fried to perfection, ready for you to enjoy. Perfect to pick up for a dinner for the entire family. Also, the juicy chicken tenders, boneless wings that are perfect for dipping, the crispy chicken sandwich, which actually is really, really good, filled with flavor. That's right, Kwik Trip. All of these options, heck, fill up the tank as well. And if you don't have time, that's fine too. If the app is on your phone, you can go right in and pick it up. Kwik Trip, they are, no matter what time of day, starting late or early in your life, Kwik Trip's going to be there for you.
Okay, yeah, we can answer these questions here. Matt wants to know, did Phil go out late last night? KP-FOW77, Phil sounds a bit rough. It just screaming at Draymond Green through the TV is basically what did it for me.
Your voice now,
loud sports bar last night.
I will say this, your voice now does sound like you were on a bender. Like, cause
as opposed to like last night, it sounded, I think, like
sick.
Yeah, maybe sick. I feel great. I feel fantastic.
Yeah.
So for people that maybe haven't been following, like we've been done 2 Flagrant House post game shows this week, and I've been off Purple Daily a couple times. I've been traveling this week it was Toronto for like a day and a half for the North American Radio Days Summit, just sort of talking about Score North and what we got going on here, and then the Barrett Sports Media Summit in Chicago these last couple days, and there was a couple Score North listeners that saw me and some friends from the industry watching the Wolves game at I think it was Jake Melnick's, known for their wings. And by the way, very good wings at Jake Melnick's in Chicago. But I feel like shouting, and I didn't even have a drink the last 2 nights, so I wish I could say it's because I was partying. I was being responsible. I just feel like shouting at Draymond Green these last 2 games over the TV is what maybe did it. I don't know.
And then Draymond went and melted down himself last night post game, so you got that going for you as well.
Yeah, that was kind of, I don't know what he was going for there. And by the way, for the fans yelling racial things, I know we hate Draymond Green, whatever, but like for the fans yelling racial things apparently at Draymond Green, stop doing that. Yeah. You don't represent Minnesota sports fans. Show up, cheer against the opposing team, cheer for your team, but let's draw a line somewhere. Yeah. So I hated to hear that inside Target Center.
Draymond sucks was a great cheer. Took me back to my days at North Star games at the Met with Secord sucks. I miss when a referee makes a bad call for years and years, it was bull bleep. And the whole crowd would chant it. I loved it. Fantastic. Ref, you suck? Not as good in my opinion.
No. Yeah, it's not not as original, I guess. So let's get to the batch of feedback here. Ben Peterson chimes in, and he says, could you guys take a look at previous defensive lines that Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave have been on? Have they teamed up with elite edge rushers like what the Vikings have going into this season? And I'll broaden this out for you, Sports Dad and Age. Just your thoughts on the impact that Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave can have on this defense from the interior. I will say, Hargrave in particular, so he's been a couple different spots. Philadelphia, I think most notably for, 3 seasons between 2020 and 2022. And they had Hassan Reddick as one of the top pass rushers on the edge in the NFL, Josh Sweat. So there was a year or two in Philadelphia where Hargrave on the interior and then like Reddick and Josh Sweat, all of them racking up double-digit sacks. And then notably in San Francisco, Hargrave had Nick Bosa as his wingman on the outside and some other great defensive players. So Jonathan Allen hasn't had quite the cavalry around him to support in Washington over the years, but he's been great as an individual contributor. So with that context, your thoughts on those two large, massive bodies on the interior now?
I think it's going to be enormous. No pun intended again, because when you have that, the Vikings for how long now? And it's funny because at one time they 100% had this, but for how long now have they lacked a real interior push? I mean, it's been a few years. So, I think what's interesting is you combine what they're going to bring with the Brian Flores scheme as well, which these guys clearly have not played in previously. And that's where I'm really, really curious to see how it plays out. Now, I will say this. I will go back to the one thing that concerns me, and it's where depth becomes so important, is injuries. Because both of these guys are not young men. They are coming off injuries that curtailed or in Allen's case, I think ended his season. So I think the possibility for production is enormous. My number one concern is not that. It is, can they stay on the field? And if they can't, does Redmond step up? Taki Taimani, who was, I think, a UDFA a year ago, who actually played some, and I think that they do like him. So I think the possibilities here, though, are fantastic, because when you're playing with Van Ginkel, when you're playing with Grenard, and, Dallas Turner, I'm expecting a big step up. So I think there's a lot of potential here for a pass rush from 4 guys, essentially, 3 or 4 guys, that's going to be incredibly effective, that's going to allow Flores to back off having to blitz as much as he certainly did in his first 2 seasons.
Yeah, and I think this probably does a lot of good for benefiting Dallas Turner early in his career, because now he has like an encyclopedia of how to get to the QB next to him, where even if those guys can't stay on the field, they have these tips and tricks and like little nuances that maybe he just he knows how to kind of get around the edge, but how can he perfect a swim move better? How can he rotate his hips better to get past a guy 0.2 seconds quicker in order to get to the QB? Because that's going to make that much more of a difference. Now he has that next to him. And so the veteran savviness being added here, even if they can't stay on the field, I think does wonders for the Vikings D-line.
Also, major credit to AJ for coming in hot with a rotation of the hips reference in the first 8 minutes of today's. That's right.
Yeah.
The swim move. Don't forget the swim move.
Wish I had my little sound bar here. I would have hit AJ with the football sounder in solidarity. To AJ's point, not to turn this into a referendum on Dallas Turner, but we're about to find out if Dallas Turner can play in 2025. I think all the questions and concerns about his playing time and maybe lack of production as a rookie, very explainable by his age, by the starters that the Vikings had in front of him, Brian Flores' system being fairly complicated. But all of those things are year one excuses or reasons, with all of these players opening up almost like assists. I don't know. There's really there's no such thing as a defensive assist in the NFL, but if there was, these guys will be opening up lanes for their fellow pass rushers on the edge. So yeah, this in theory could open things up big time for Dallas Turner. Let's get to 2 of them here that kind of conflict when it comes to expectations for the 2025 Vikings. We're going to start with Brendan Allen, who says, And by the way, you can hit us up always through the feedback tab in the Score North app. That's the best way to just directly email the show and request to be on Write That Down. We also monitor the YouTube comment section all the time. So Brendan says, I'm hearing entirely too much moderation and tempering from you guys on the expectations for this upcoming season. Hypothetically, let's say you had a team, say last year, that was helmed by a journeyman quarterback behind a bottom 5 interior offensive line, missing its starting left tackle and tight end for half the season, playing in the best division in football. Your expectations would have been low, and yet that same team, even with a bad interior defensive line and a cornerback room, which 3 of the top 4 cornerbacks wouldn't even be on an NFL roster the following May, which is true. That team won 14 games despite all those factors. So why are we talking as though 11 wins in 2025 is a reasonable goal? You guys are cowards. 15 wins, NFC North title, Skol to the Super Bowl. And then Tim Trail chimes in with kind of the opposite approach. He says, longtime Vikings fan here from the Joe Cap days of the 1960s. I hear you guys talk about multiple Super Bowl victories over the J.J. McCarthy era and winning maybe winning seasons for the upcoming Vikings. I can't help but think we need to temper the expectations for this upcoming season. J.J. McCarthy is coming off major knee surgery, and it's his first year as a starter. So the 60-year perspective of Tim versus the bright-eyed enthusiasm of Brendan. Your thoughts?
I feel like two things just collided. So like we don't need to give our thoughts because like the old guy, like the sports dad, came through and said, hold on a second here, young buck, you slow down. As far as my own personal opinion, it's this. 14 wins is a lot of wins. I don't know that you are going to win 14 games again. Now, do I expect them to make the playoffs? And if they don't, is that a major disappointment? Absolutely. Do I expect them to win a playoff game? Yes, I do. So all I'm saying is 14 wins. Like I'm not saying, and I don't think the show is, probably 7 or 8 wins is a good season. 11, 12 wins, absolutely. Playoff team, absolutely. I guess I am more fixated now, and this isn't just a McCarthy thing, it's just a Vikings thing, and an O'Connell thing 3 years in. I'm more fixated now on winning a playoff game than I am a win total that is difficult to achieve. Would 14 wins be nice and a playoff win? Absolutely. I would take that in a heartbeat. But I don't think I'm tempering expectations. I'm just putting them in a little bit of a different place, and the expectation still is double-digit victories and a playoff berth. I think everyone will be incredibly disappointed unless this team just, is dealing with an inordinate amount of injuries. Everyone will be disappointed, very disappointed, if this team is not a playoff team.
We might have lost Phil's audio here.
Yep, Phil's audio. He's sick
Oh,
already.
no, nothing.
And now we can't hear him. And now he's got
a lot of hand movements, a lot of flailing arms.
I think what he just said is I like the Bears now because he's in Chicago.
I think he was like he's joining Colin Cowherd and picking the Vikings to finish last in the NFC.
Oh, J.J. McCarthy's terrible. I got a good theory about that. I've been pondering, Phil, as you can hear us and we can't hear you. Why is Colin so anti-McCarthy and Vikings? And I'm very confused as Phil tries to get his connection back. And I got a great note from someone on Twitter last night, I think it was. They said it's because Cowherd is a big Sam Darnold fan. And he thinks that the fact the Vikings didn't retain Sam and pay Sam and keep Sam, that's why Colin is so basically just, squashing the Vikings because it makes no sense. Phil, are you back?
I think so. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Now we can hear you.
Hear me. Okay.
Yeah, your mic cut out a couple times briefly, but it wasn't bad. And then we could see you and we couldn't hear you anymore.
What
I think we're
Wi-Fi
limping
level
to the
did you
finish
pay for
line
at
here.
the Marriott? Like
that's on the Hubbards. He's got
it is
clear.
Well, it is. They do give you there's like an enhanced internet option here at I think it's a Westin, which is a Marriott property.
Oh, were you at the Westin?
But it's
on Michigan, downtown.
The Michigan one, yeah.
Oh, that's the very mysterious one.
What? Oh my
So
God.
I'm
glad I'm checking out in like an hour after.
I'm
you
not
said it that
joking.
way.
I'm not joking, and it's tragic, but that Weston is where Darryl Kyle died.
The pitcher.
The pitcher for the Cardinals back in like 08 or 07.
What room was it?
They won't tell anyone. So they have never revealed what room Darryl Kyle was in. Young man, heart attack, died in bed. Terrible story, but they won't say. It's a nice hotel. I've stayed there a few times myself. Love the heavenly bed.
It's got an old school charm to it, for sure.
Nice bar as well, but yeah, that's the hotel where Darryl Kyle passed away.
Well, I'm glad you didn't tell me that 2 nights ago, or I'd be sitting here terrified of the
Go
ghost
stay at the
of
Pfister
Darryl
sometime.
Kyle.
There are real ghosts there at the Pfister in Milwaukee.
Is that the
that's
one?
why you're-
That's the one that Carlos Gomez refused to stay at.
A few guys refused to stay there, including Go-Go.
Oh my gosh. Oh man.
That's why your voice is alien, just like howling in your sleep, and you don't even remember it. It's just
I know.
haunted.
Been fighting ghosts apparently in the West in here. Okay, yeah, we did get a couple questions about the Cowherd prediction.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You cut out for a second.
I'm definitely limping to the finish line here, but
Your mic is.
I feel like he is projecting best case scenario for the Bears and worst case scenario for the Vikings. So there is a world in which the Bears, Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, the offensive line upgrades. There's a world in which the Bears take a big step forward. What did they win? I guess it was, they started 4-2, and then they struggled to win again the rest of the year. But there's a world where they win like 9 or 10 games as one of the best. There's always a team or two, Washington last year, Houston a couple years ago, that makes a big jump. The Vikings doubled their win total from 7 to 14. So yeah, if you took the Bears' best case scenario and the Vikings' worst case scenario, the Vikings are a 4th place team in the NFC North. But how likely is it that both of those scenarios happen? I think if both teams perform at like their 80th percentile, the Vikings are better than the Bears in 2025.
Yeah.
That's my take on the.
But what's sort of weird about it is he's talking about the Vikings a lot, but I mean the whole division. Like if any team has injuries, for instance, it changes everything. And I'm also not convinced that it's like the Vikings are going to it's like the Vikings and Bears are battling and the Lions and Packers are established. I think they're all good teams, but there's variables here that could kick in, and it's weird. I liked the theory I got on Twitter from a guy that said this is because Colin loves Darnold, and he's sort of pissed off that they didn't bring him back.
Well, it's twofold. So he loves Darnold. That is true. I don't know if he's pissed they didn't bring him back, but he's been a Darnold defender.
Yep.
If those of us with the Vikings tie, like I became a Darnold defender when Darnold signed with the Vikings. Cowherd was a Darnold defender back USC into the NFL draft and the Jet stuff.
Right.
But also Colin just moved to Chicago like a couple months ago.
Oh yeah.
And it might be getting emotionally invested in the Chicago sports teams. So
to kind of tie it all back together, I think that's why this year, expectation-wise, it's weird in my mind to throw like they have to win 13 games, 15 games, otherwise it's a failed season. This is going to be a division that kind of stacks up to where, I mean, you saw it last season, just teams taking punches, giving punches left and right, trading wins essentially. So it doesn't matter if it's 8 wins, 10 wins, 14 wins. The end goal is just make the playoffs. And then like Judd said, I think you have to win a playoff game. And that's where it's like, okay, now this season, that's a success to an extent, but obviously the end goal is still Super Bowl. If they get in, I don't care if they win 6 games, frankly, like just make the playoffs and see what happens.
I would say I'm gonna draw a distinction here because every time we end this show, we say, and we've done this for 5 years, we all just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die, and that goes back to us setting an expectation level for the show and the commentary on the show, and wanting this team to do what it has not done. They've checked every box in the NFL for 65 years except win a championship. It's the best team in the 4 men's professional sports leagues to never win the major championship. So I think on the macro, the goal should be Super Bowl. In the macro meaning the Kevin O'Connell era, the J.J. McCarthy era. This is your guy. He's a first-round pick. You moved up a spot to get him. You like him. So I think a 3-year, 5-year arc, the expectation should be Super Bowl, and they should be judged on whether they are competing realistically for a Super Bowl. Short-term micro, 2025, first year of J.J. McCarthy. I think you guys are kind of onto it. Win the first playoff game of the Kevin O'Connell era, check that box, and then the next box becomes win a Super Bowl. So I'm for 2025. I guess my mission statement for the team is win the first playoff game in Kevin O'Connell's coaching career, check that box, and then we get to the big box, which we've talked about for years on this show.
Yep. And who says they can't do it all in the same season? You know, you got to win the first playoff game before you get to a Super Bowl. So,
yes, mathematically, yes. No. There's been some widespread speculation about the Vikings playing back-to-back games in Europe. So Dublin against the Steelers, and then I guess you would just stay over there and play, according to credible reports, the Browns the following week.
Yep.
Your thoughts?
First of all, it sounds like the weeks are Arifasan, I think, had weeks 4 and 5. I don't know that is accurate, but it sounds like it's been confirmed by several people that it's as Phil liked to say about the Twins, it's happening. So they're going to do it. They're going to go there. They're going to play Pittsburgh. They're going to play Cleveland. And we talked about this briefly. It might have been last Friday, but to me, this is a testament to the Vikings' popularity, how well their fans travel, and probably to a certain degree, how well behaved you Vikings fans are. So it's a cool opportunity. Seems like a lot. I think Jacksonville has stayed before. There have been teams that have stayed before. It's not common though. But you also, so you got to travel. Now, once you're there, you're there. The travel won't be as bad. But I guess the upside is this: you're avoiding games in Pittsburgh and Cleveland. So that's an upside of sorts because you're taking. So the Vikings are what? They're slated for 8 home games and 9 road games, but now it's going to be 8 home games and then 2 neutral site games. So I don't think it's a bad thing.
No, and I would say selfishly as a viewer, I don't know about you guys. Like as a soccer guy, I already wake up on weekends at like 8 a.m. to watch my team lose. I love these European games because it's like kick off at 8 o'clock. You're done by noon. You have the entire day to either watch every other football game or you can do something else because, frankly, kind of in that, if you're on like girlfriend duty, apple orchard's got to be visited. There's pumpkin patches you have to do.
Wow.
That doesn't have to happen either.
Well, Judd's on 30 years of marriage duty, which is a different level of duty.
Early on, apple orchard day, if it happens, is a weekday thing.
Oh,
it is not a week. It's not a weekend thing. No. Weekends are for brunch. Now a summer weekend. Okay, let's talk about that. But in the fall, when football season starts, it's over. Like we are not going to an apple orchard on a Sunday.
Wait, did you set these expectations early in the relationship back in the day? Like
I think it was in his vows.
Listen, Don, Tuesday apple orchard, maybe.
Yeah. Yes, because you know what? It's my job.
Not a Wednesday. It can't be a Wednesday though, because Wednesday is the press conferences.
I've got a current dilemma. Well, I'm talking about early on when I was at the Star Tribune as a clerk and then on the copy desk. I didn't have to concern myself with the press conferences, but I'm just saying, you got a full day of football. That's your day. I got a dilemma right now, boys. How about this? Dawn's best friend from high school, her daughter is getting married in late May. And I said, and I'm scheduled to go, but I said, if the Wolves advance Western Conference Finals, I'm out. Which I think they're going to. But I'm out.
What time is the wedding, though?
Well, first of all, it might conflict with a home game, and I can't miss a Western Conference home game.
Obviously, yeah.
Game. And then it doesn't matter what time the wedding is because it's going to drag me away because, I'm sorry, it's in Iowa. I didn't say that. So I would have to leave town. So like there's certain, like, this is the job. This is unlike Belichick, who gets pushed around by the gal. And look, Dawn and I have she's smarter than me, great relationship, but this is all about the job.
I saw
People want Dawn's vision for this. By the way,
she said last night after she watched part of the game, she said, "I'm now worried about the fact that you are going to have to miss the wedding."
She's just sticking, but she's digging in.
No, she just said, "I'm concerned about it." She knows I can't go.
Boy, it's also throwing off the catering. You're not sure if we're gonna have to make an extra one of those like chicken breasts with some sort of mystery sauce and some vegetables on the side.
Anyway, this is what it's all about, Age. So you just say, Apple Orchard ain't happening during the season on a Sunday.
Well, I know why you were big on the Tuesdays for the Apple Orchard. You and Kirk. Past couple of years, it's been automatic Tuesday. You ride on the hay ride, like the hay bale ride on the tractor. Let's get some apple cider. Hey, nobody needs to go into the office on Tuesday.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Judd, these life takes from Judd, sponsored by MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning today.
They absolutely are. In fact, Sports Dad wants to talk to you about an adult thing here that's important, and that is plumbing, heating, and air, and why you should call MSP. You know why? Because I did. I don't let people in the Sports Dad's house much, but I not only let the folks from MSP in, they fixed my water heater, water softener, and furnace all within like a month span, and they did fantastic work. How? By gaining entry to my house because I trust them that much, and I want you to trust them too. Join their Total Comfort Club. $8 a month gets you a tune-up for the furnace, a plumbing check, and an AC tune-up. The AC becomes very important this time of year. You get priority service. If you need repairs, you get 10% off. For service, give them a call, 651-615-4292, or check out their website, callmsp.com. Callmsp.com.
Okay, let's also talk about Dennis Kirk here. The second annual Minnesota Garage Build Bike Show, powered by Dennis Kirk, is coming up in just a few weeks, June 7th, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Running Aces Casino, which is a great place, by the way. It's free to register your bike and attend. It's open to garage builders, folks who've been working hard on their rides in their garages and are looking for the opportunity to show off their work. Bring them on over to the second annual Minnesota Garage Build Bike Show. Kids and families are welcome. Again, that's June 7th, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., powered by Dennis Kirk at Running Aces Casino. And North American Banking Company is powering Feedback Friday here today. Minnesota-based since 1998, with 6 locations across the Twin Cities: Maple Grove, Roseville, Shoreview, Hastings, Woodbury, and 50th in France. So if you're just looking for a better banking experience, could be the basics, checking and savings, could be something bigger, like you're planning to buy a new home, looking for help with the mortgage process, launching a new business, whatever it may be, the folks at North American Banking Company will get you started with the process of transferring over. nabankco.com/Mackey to learn more. That's nabankco.com/Mackey. Okay, we're going to call in AJ from the bullpen to read some of these questions here to preserve old Macadac's voice for the upcoming snake draft.
All right.
Danny Coulomb time.
Just jogging up. All right. Hey, next one comes here from Skoldoc Alex. He says, Skoldoc here, friend of the show. I have a football question if we can get deep into the weeds here. And he would love for us to hit the football sounder. I know we don't have it, so maybe football. How does a UFA
children's voice.
How does a UDFA contract work if they make the team? Is it a 4-year deal, and how do you determine contract structure? Shout out to the Purple Daily family. Happy Friday. Love y'all. Thank you, Skoldoc. But yeah, UDFA contracts, guys. Can you expand on that?
So when these guys sign them, they're actually done. And that's why you can tell certain guys who are going to have a very good chance to make the team and certain guys who are going to have to work their ass off to like get a sniff of the practice squad. Max Brosmer, I believe, I went through it. He signed like a 3-year contract, and the actual money in the contract's not what's important. What's important is the guarantees. And he got, what did he get? 150,000 guaranteed, 10,000 to sign, something like that. So these contracts are actually done. Now, there's going to be, in fact, day one of the Vikings rookie camp is today. 3-day camp. Very excited because we do get access. What we'll find today when we get out there is there will be the draft picks, the UDFAs, and then the tryout guys. Now, those guys come in and sign a waiver, which basically says if my head falls off, I can't sue you and I won't be playing for you. But and those guys go from tryout to tryout. So like there's a chance. I think Chip Scoggins told me a buddy of his kid was trying out with like the Chiefs or Bengals last week, and now he's here this week. So the UDFAs though actually do get contracts. The contracts themselves aren't important, but what's very important is the guaranteed, because that sort of sets the benchmark of if they have a chance.
And then maybe you said this and I spaced out for a second, but I believe whether it's like a 2-year deal or a 3-year deal or whatever it is, they are then restricted free agents after they or is that also negotiated? I think they become restricted free agents. You can then, you get them for 3 years, and instead of 4. Yep. But then if another team makes a contract offer, you can match it in free agency. I think.
Yeah, I believe that's a league rule. So I think the league rule is coming out of that contract, you are restricted, although I wouldn't swear to it. I just know that those guys do have actual contracts, but the tryout guys do not. They just sign a waiver that they can try out.
Boy, real quick here. This is awfully personal. Brian Simmons says, "I'm surprised Judd got married to anyone." With all the rules that Sports Dad has.
32. Well, hold on a second here. That's not fair. When we met, she knew who I was.
It's true.
I mean, it
was in the contract.
It was in the contract. It's not like I found sports in my 30s. I've been doing this since I was a kid, and I met her and we talked about it, and she knew that. And look, the reality is this. You know, Phil's on a business trip, right? Am I going to go to a wedding of somebody? I mean, I like her best friend. It's fine. But am I going to go see her best friend's kid get married and skip the Western Conference final games? You know, you talk about priorities, right?
Yeah.
You know, if somebody gets sick, I love priority. That's fine. But like an extended friend of a friend, I'm sorry. It's not happening.
Just send a heavy card. That's all you got to do. Here's a couple bills.
Heavy
Dawn's
card.
going regardless, and I think she's going to take her brother if I can't go. So like I've got a fill in here, a sub, a sixth man, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So it works. A backup quarterback. Sam Howell will go if I can't go.
Sam Howell. I bet Sam Howell crushes it at weddings.
At weddings,
crushes it at weddings.
Tears it up on the dance floor.
Drops his drink, though. He fumbles his drink.
Party fouls. Next one's coming from Kanan Downer here. He says, "Hey, Phil, I was hoping to get into some of the off-season nitty-gritty. And by that, yes, he means the punting battle. With Ryan Wright having been on the hot seat, he was hoping to hear more from someone with real knowledge on Oscar Chapman. Would love to hear you guys' thoughts on him if you have any. Thanks." And then he includes a note here. It says PFF says Ryan Wright usually in the bottom half of the league in punter grades.
Yeah.
So Oscar Chapman, what do you guys think about that? And is there a punter battle to brew here in the offseason?
Full report coming after today. I got to see him.
Yeah, today's the first, because you'll see him today.
It's our
Oscar,
only,
right?
and it's our only day. So it's a 3-day camp, but the access is restricted to, which is fine. I'm not complaining at all. But yeah, so like I believe there's a chance. I don't mean to speak out of school here, though, but I believe that there's a chance with Declan coming back into town on Saturday and there not being time to do a vent line for him, that we might be doing a Judd's camp notes from rookie camp on Sunday.
Yes.
So I will have some updates, but right now there's a lot of things I don't know. I have to put my eyes, the peepers. I got to put the peepers on the players.
Yeah, I mean, if you trust the PFF punter grades, Ryan Wright is not among the top punters in the league. He's ripe for a competition, like a real camp punting competition. So we'll see.
All right.
Sorry, can't give you more.
That's all right. Hey, more today with the Judd's camp notes coming up, and then I know we'll be getting some maybe inside looks at training camp on the socials here.
Yes. Yeah. I'll be sending some video to you.
Love it.
That we will get out as quickly as possible.
All right. Next year, listener Andy. This one, St. Cloud State grad, just like Declan. So bear with me. This is a lot of words. So we'll get through it together. I hope this email finds you better than I am as I write it. Longtime listener, first time emailer. This week, my wife and I said goodbye to our beloved Cocker Spaniel, River, who was taken from us by an aggressive cancer. She was her normal self less than a week before she passed. My wife and I are devastated. River was a Vikings fan through and through. She had a Vikings collar and leash, and one of her favorite activities was was what we called snuggle football time.
Oh, this has been making
me cry. Good girl.
See,
snuggle football time.
Every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night during the NFL season, my wife and I would snuggle up with River on our couch to watch the evening's football game. My wife and River would usually be asleep by halftime, but it brought such joy to me to share one of my favorite activities with my two most loved ones. I love your show. The Vikings and Purple Daily have been a comforting distraction for me going through this tough time in my life, and I really need that distraction right now. I know all three of you are dog lovers, and I know I'm taking Declan's spot today, but I also have a Daisy. My Boston Terrier is sleeping in the other room right now.
Daisy.
I was hoping that you guys could shout out River on the show by asking her, who's a good girl?
Who's a good girl?
Who's a good girl, River?
Who's a good girl, River?
Man,
are you the best girl?
Sad.
Yeah, that is.
As we've talked about a lot, we generally are more sad when animals die than most people in our lives.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, we feel that. That's really sad. It sucks to think about, like, your animals die, because they live way, way fewer years. And then you get a new animal and you're like, okay, I'm good for like 10 or 15 years. But then once they turn 6 or 7 or 10, I mean, Judd's got an older dog.
Yeah. And you still miss the last
one.
It's
so sad. Yeah, it's so sad.
I still miss our first dog. Like, because they do have their own, like, personalities, right?
Yeah.
Like, they've got characteristics. They like certain foods. Like, Stella's a food snob. She's a food snob. She'll eat weird things occasionally in the yard, but I'm like, how can you not like bananas, but you'll do that? But anyway, like, our first dog, Holly, she'd eat, like, she loved bananas. She loved toast. Stella's like, that toast, I don't like it. I'm like, what are you talking? You're a dog.
Dogs are hilarious. Like, they'll eat their own vomit and other dogs' poop, but they'll turn their nose up at a piece of lunch meat or something.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, that's sad.
Man. So to River, we feel that, and listener Andy, we're sorry to hear that, man. That sucks.
Next one gets written in here from Andre Krause. He says, after hearing Judd's problems with lawnmowers, oil, and traffic, I think we need to conclude Feedback Friday on Purple Daily with Judd's gear grinds of the week. What grinds Judd's gears? Traffic, oil, lawnmowers, what else? I mean, this could be a separate show, I think, weekly that could span like an hour or two every single time.
Could this be like, could we literally launch like another Mackey and Judd weekly show with this? Yeah, I feel like AJ's onto something here.
I mean, there's a lot. I mean, traffic right now is a big one because you can't get around town, and it's absolutely ridiculous. They're shutting down everything. They're going to shut down, supposedly, in a month or so, 394 is going to be shut down to a certain degree to do more like bridge work. We're doing bridge work, and believe me, I know the importance of bridges, but are all of them going out at the same time? And if so, why didn't you begin staggering the fixes a few years ago so that we didn't have to shut down everything at once? Like, why are you turning summer into such a bummer?
I feel like you can't close multiple lanes of 94 and then do other freeway projects. Well, like the 94 thing is your freeway project right now.
Correct. I agree.
So you're, unless we're in imminent, and now I say this, like the 35W bridge did collapse like 20 years ago.
Right.
So like, yeah, if we're in imminent danger of bridges collapsing, go fix them. But I feel like if you've got one main freeway vein you're fixing, leave the other ones alone for a minute.
Correct. And like, so I was driving home from, I think it was the Wild Game 6, and I'm not joking. So it's late, but I'm driving home, and of course, 94 is a war zone, right? It's being fixed. Blah blah blah. That's not fine, but it is what it is. And then they're, I think, scrubbing the 94 tunnel. So they closed the 94. So it literally, there was no movement on the damn road. Like, don't scrub the tunnel if you're doing anything else. Let's just wait. You know what?
I'm okay with cleaning the tunnel. Is that what that is?
Yeah, they were cleaning.
They're just cleaning They're just wiping down the tunnel.
As far as I know,
do we need to do that?
They do it like once every 6 months. Which, by the way, if everything else is working at night, that's fine. But if you've closed down 94 to a huge degree, let's skip the tunnel cleaning. I'm fine with it not being clean. I'll drive through it. I never notice it like, oh my God, the tunnel looks great. What did you do to the tunnel? You cleaned the tunnel. No.
Well, I feel
that grinds my gears.
There's got to be better times in the day. Like Tuesday night, I went to a show at Varsity Theater, and me and my buddy were walking back to the car where we parked, and it was like almost 11. But they had like this lane in an intersection blocked off. They were doing like painting new lines and kind of like fixing some like holes. And I was like, that's weird that they're doing like that's such a weird time. He's like, no, it's probably the only time of the day that they can do it without massive congestion traffic at this intersection. There's got to be better times. Like I understand like working hours. There's probably that also if you're working at night, it's probably cooler. You're not gonna be on the hot sun. It might be like if there's a trade-off there. Like you got to think about that.
I'm all for road work between the hours of 2 and 6 or 2 and 5 in the morning.
It can't be 6. Yeah, 6
yeah,
is 2.
5. 6 is 2. Yeah, you're right, Phil.
Yeah.
6 is pushing it.
And that's what grinds Judd's gears.
Yeah.
Explosion sounder. I don't know. We'll work
Grinding, yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Let's do one more before we get to our snake draft of the week, gentlemen.
All right. Last one's coming from Julian, who writes in and says, I've been a daily listener for almost 20 years at this point since the 1500 ESPN days, and I'm considering unsubscribing and boycotting Score North over the egregious exclusion of the greatest action film of all time from the action movie Snake Draft last week, The Matrix. I rewinded the podcast to see if I had just missed it. Sci-fi is allowed via Terminator 2, but I've got to assume I misunderstood something about the criteria. By the way, I'm living in Japan now. And your podcast makes me feel like I'm home for 30 to 60 minutes a day. I really appreciate your podcast. I don't always agree, of course, but it's great to digest the Vikings world with you guys. So despite him feeling at home for an hour a day with Purple Daily, considering unsubscribing because the Matrix with Keanu Reeves was omitted from last week's Snake Draft.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed The Matrix, but yeah, it was nowhere on my big board, to be honest. There's also 100 possible action movies that could be on your big board. We left the Bond. I mean, I didn't even think of Bond movies. I think of them as a separate big board entirely. There's a new Mission Impossible movie coming out. I love Mission Impossible movies. Mm-hmm. So I do have some regrets going back to last week's Snake Draft personally, but The Matrix is not one of them. Sorry, Julian. Love you.
Sorry.
Appreciate you.
I have never seen The Matrix.
Really?
There you go.
No, I've seen it. I've not seen a lot of films, Age. You'll find out.
AJ, that's only the second most egregious Judd action movie film omission from his life. Batman being the other one from last week. So
I saw, yeah, The Dark. I'm surprised. Like, I guess thinking about it, I don't think Judd would be much of a Matrix guy. I feel like he'd be like, why don't they just do this? Like, well, he would be the guy, Phil, and this is for people that have seen The Matrix, the guy that like is at the restaurant with Mr. Anderson, and he's like, I know the steak isn't real, but I know you're making it taste good, blah, blah, blah. Judd would be comfortable living in The Matrix in that life.
Yeah.
Which is totally fine.
I feel like Judd sees sports through The Matrix. Everything is moving in slow motion for him. He sees all the angles.
Oh, yeah.
He sees a few steps ahead of everybody else.
Oh, no question about it.
He is like Neo in The Matrix when it comes to Minnesota sports.
Keanu, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I do celebrate the Keanu catalog.
Well, apparently
not that one in particular, but I mean, let's be honest. I stand for the former lead singer of Dogstar.
Dogstar.
Dogstar
What
was
a career that
band.
guy.
He's great.
I know, what a great career. All right, before we get to our snake draft of the week here, you know what fixes a raspy, worn and torn voice? A Black Stack beer. That's what I need right now. I just need one of these Slopes French Pilsners, one of the 755 New England IPAs, and boom, I'll be back to normal. Black Stack creates world-renowned craft beer. You can find them all over the state of Minnesota, also inside U.S. Bank Stadium during Vikings games, and expanded distribution into Wisconsin, Nebraska, and South Dakota. The tap room, which about a month and a half, 2 months ago, we had an awesome Purple Daily Unplugged event. It's the second largest tap room in the state of Minnesota. It's a former Spam can factory. You gotta check this place out if you haven't. They've always got something going on. There's room for hundreds of people, gatherings big and small. So check them out. blackstackbrewing.com, the where to buy page, to find out more information. Also, Roku TV is powering this Feedback Friday edition here. Just like they're, I think for both the Zolgads and the Mackies, Roku TV is powering all of the sports and entertainment in our living rooms. Whether you're looking for what platform the basketball game is on or the baseball game, because you have no idea in today's age what channel things are on, well, Roku can help you with their Sports Zone. You can favorite and follow teams, and you can find the games and adjacent programming surrounding those games. Go to Roku.com to learn more or shop at a retailer near you. All right, dudes. Age, do you have the stats and the results from last week's snake draft for us?
I do. So last week's Action Movies snake draft that omitted The Matrix to Julian's distaste. Judd won that one with a 47.8% share of the vote.
Back.
He regains the all-time lead with 16 total wins on snake drafts. He's now 16 for 45 in his career. Still the only person to participate in every single snake draft to date. Phil, you're slightly behind him. 15 wins. You're 15 for 41, so a better win percentage despite the less total. And then Declan falls to 9 for 38. His last win coming early April, so he's been a little bit of a dry spell here, and it's going to continue with him out this week. Me rejoining the fold, 4 for 7, and Ross sits with 1 for 3 on his career.
Oh boy, Age rejoining the fold is not, and I love you, Age, but it's not good news because that 4 for 7, like you are Luis Arise coming off the bench to pinch hit for Jonathan Scope with 2 strikes, and you work the at bat. Like
wow.
you've done
what a
too
callback.
well.
One of the great at-bats in Twins history.
Oh, no question. I was there against the Mets. It was a fantastic at-bat.
Yeah.
I'll tell you,
AJ's a primetime player when it comes to these snake drafts, for sure.
I wouldn't be too scared today because I made the decision. I was looking over and once I got the topic, I was like, you know what? I usually go for like man of the people. I usually save 1 pick for myself and I go man of the people because, you know, it's fun to cater. It's fun to cater a little bit. I think I'm going to be selfish and just go 3 picks for me today. And if people want to back me,
oh, you're not going to kiss butt today?
Hey, how do you think I got this job? Are you kidding me? Like, come on now.
He's deviating from his life strategy right now. We'll see how it works. We'll see how it works. So the draft order, I get the number 1 pick this week. Judd gets the 2nd pick, and then AJ, you'll get the 3rd pick and the wraparound. It's a 3-round snake draft, and it is TV sitcoms, TV situational comedies, gentlemen. Do we have any questions about the categorization of anything on your big board, or should we just?
I think we should start, and then if something comes up that like I think we're gonna maybe have some discussions once we get to certain picks.
Okay.
But I'd prefer not to tip my hand beyond that until I get to a pick.
Yeah.
Well, I think I know there's no way that this show will still be on the board after Judd picks twice before my 2nd pick. So with the number 1 pick in the TV sitcom snake draft, I feel obligated to take Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I knew it. I knew that.
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
That's a great pick.
Yep. A 25-year sitcom. Not every year. They've done 13 seasons or something, 12.
Yeah, he took it off the air for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But Curb Your Enthusiasm. All right, Judd, you got the number 2 pick.
All right. Yeah, that's what I wanted. It's a fantastic pick. I do have a big board here. I'm considering what else to go to. You know what? I am going to go to another offbeat one as well. Curb, clearly offbeat. I'm going to go Arrested Development.
Oh,
that's a good one.
I haven't dabbled much, but it is a great show, and people swear by it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It's very. It's also like, as I said, offbeat. Like it's not your traditional TV sitcom, but that's what made it so good. Much like with Curb.
Yeah. All right, AJ gets back-to-back picks here. The self-serving strategy about to be unleashed.
All right. My number
Matrix.
one pick is still on the board, so I have to take this immediately. I'm sprinting to submit the ticket. Give me It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, that was definitely on mine too.
It's another great one. Yep. I think you're gonna get steam with that one, Age.
You know, it's such an easy show to watch. Surprised they've never won anything, but it is what
It is crazy. And also Danny DeVito. What a great late career renaissance It's
Right.
Always Sunny was for Danny DeVito.
He's so good.
Just tying in a 4-decade career. Just love it, man.
He's great. I love that guy. He's great.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next one here. This one, admittedly, I don't think I've turned it on in a while, but this was one growing up. It was always on the reruns in the Fredrickson household and late at night on TV Land. I'm gonna take MASH. Give me MASH.
On
Whoa.
MeTV. On MeTV, 3 consecutive episodes every afternoon. It's always on in our house. Not because
Just
of me, but
great characters, great
Yeah.
setting. You could go from having a super funny scene to
Yeah.
hey, we're gonna really get into some hard stuff about the Vietnam War. We're gonna get really emotional, blah blah blah. Just great character development over the seasons. And
the Korean War, actually.
Korean War. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
It's even older school
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
MASH, the show run of MASH actually lasted longer than the actual Korean War.
Really
The show went
Yeah,
longer
yeah.
than the war itself. Yeah.
didn't know that.
And I believe the MASH finale is still to this day, and it probably won't be passed because TV is so fragmented now. It's the most watched non-football TV event in American television history. The MASH finale.
Yeah.
I
I didn't
like
get
80 million people or something watched.
Yeah, and
MASH
it won't be
finale.
passed. I didn't get that show as a kid, and now when I watch it, I can clearly see why. But I will say this: it is the most offensive show to ever have been tagged with a laugh track. The fact that network executives gave that thing a laugh track, and I think the MASH people said don't put a laugh track in because it was funny, but it was not it did not belong with a laugh track.
No.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the comedies, It's Always Sunny and Curb, Arrested, right? There's no laugh
There's
tracks
no laugh
on
track anymore. Yeah, for
most
them.
of these. Yeah.
No.
Wow.
So back to
AJ going old school. Back to Judd.
Yeah, that's good though. What do I want to take now? I mean, I've got this whole big board, but I'm trying to decide because there's so many shows that are in different genres potentially and things like that. I'm gonna go Seinfeld. Seinfeld. If nothing else, for the Larry David years when he wrote for it. So Seinfeld's my pick.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because obviously Seinfeld is what made Larry David as a behind the scenes guy, and then Curb Your Enthusiasm made him again, but he was also front facing and had twice as long of a run. So, okay, that brings us to my back-to-back picks here to wrap the second and then the third round. I got to go with one of the first sitcoms I ever got attached to was Saved by the Bell.
That's on my list too.
Give me Saved by the Bell. All right,
If I'm being honest,
just to
I've
be
never seen it.
specific.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't shock me because what year were you born? Mid 90s,
97.
97. Yeah, so
God.
yeah, I mean that show. I was born in 85, and that show came out in 87 with Good Morning Miss Bliss in junior high in India. They were all in Indiana.
Yep.
And then they rebranded the show.
Tori.
They kept it.
Tori,
Tori.
the character Tori wrote her right out.
Well, Tori, no. Tori came back. There was a different character.
Oh,
Tori came.
Yeah.
It was the other brunette gal.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah. Don't test my Saved by the Bell side character knowledge. Apparently,
You're right.
But it was very much like a 1990 through 93 kind of a run. So it would have been before. But I mean, hell, AJ just picked MASH for his second pick, so that's 2 decades older. So Saved by the Bell, and then wow, there's so many options here. You know what? Friends. Give me Friends. I love Friends. I feel like I've seen every episode of Friends about 3 different times. I know it's polarizing, but love me some Friends. Rest in peace, Matthew Perry. So I'll take Saved by the Bell and Friends with my back-to-backs here.
Can I tell you my issue with Friends before Judd makes his next pick?
Sure.
I get it's iconic and it has this massive audience and stuff. but like give me an iconic line from Friends. There's none. There, like I've asked my friend that he loves Friends.
Seven.
That's just a number. That's just a number. That's not a line. Like it's
Are-
like pivot. We're gonna pivot.
Could
That's
you
not
be
iconic.
any more wrong right now, AJ?
See,
Could you
I don't even know.
AJ, I thought we were on a break.
You say these things, and I'm just like,
That's the most iconic line from that's the most iconic line. Yeah, but I'm with age. You know what? I'm sorry. David Schwimmer still that character drives me crazy. Ross drives me crazy.
Pivot. Thank you, comment section.
But
There's
and
a lot
then
of
look
iconic
at iconic lines from other stuff. Even if you've never seen The Office, you know, I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. Like you've heard that from The Office before, even if you've never seen an episode.
Yeah, hey, listen, I'm not here to slander The Office. I'm just here to select Friends.
You know,
is there an iconic line from Arrested Development? Or is it more just a really good show?
Yeah. You know what? I'm not really participating in this iconic line thing. I can't stand Ross, so that's my problem.
I don't disagree with that.
The character, and the fact that he was the only guy when the show started of the 6, he was the only one promised a role. Like he didn't have to audition. It's like, how did David Schwimmer not have to audition? And once he did, how did you not find someone less annoying than him?
Also, as Razor C chimes in here, the biggest flaw with Friends is how could 6 semi-employed people afford 2 relatively massive and nice New York City apartments?
Yeah. The other thing too is they milked that show, which is not surprising, right? But like that show they could have walked away at least 2, if not 3 years before. Like Chandler and Monica being married, you didn't need that.
Oh, there's so many iconic lines. Oh my God. How Janice, you doing?
Janice is another character I couldn't take.
I'm going to find a YouTube video that's like 10 minutes of just
send it to
iconic Friends lines and send it to AJ this week.
Don't send it to me.
While you're searching for that, go watch the Friends without the laugh track, and it is the most painful, cringiest things to watch because they say something and it's just dead silence, and they're like looking around, and then it's like, let's continue. It's tough. It's tough. Okay. David Schwimmer, great in Band of Brothers, though.
No, I'm not. Yeah, his character I couldn't take the character.
Yeah.
So back to me.
We're back to Judd. Judd's final pick here. Yeah.
All right, I am going to stay newer school, and I am going to go with The Office.
Yeah.
Just a great. Now, what's funny is the original was also fantastic. But I'm going to go with the American Steve Carell version of The Office.
Yep. I was wondering, we're going to get hammered if The Office doesn't get drafted here. So I'm partially glad just for our own sanity on social media that someone took this. So
again, probably could have, when Steve Carell got done, they probably could have put a fork in it.
Yeah.
But they didn't, and it sort of got a little bit sloppy after that. But the Steve Carell years were really, really well done.
Yeah, there's Steve Carell is in a new Netflix, I guess you could call it a sitcom. It's like 8 episodes, season 1, called The 4 Seasons. Really good. It's really good. Steve Carell's awesome. Like
he's a really good actor.
He's very, very versatile comedic actor and serious
actor. Yeah. The first time he did a serious role, I was like, oh, okay, let's see. And he's really good at it. So
yeah. And then that's AJ here with Mr. Irrelevant, the final pick in the sitcom snake draft.
There's a couple ones still on my big board. Like I could go Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which I discovered way later than most people. Very good. I don't think it's my pick here though. I was dabbling, I was thinking I love South Park, but I don't know. It's a cartoon. I don't know if that counts as a sitcom. I don't want to do a technicality thing. And I think
The Simpsons counts as a sitcom. So yeah.
Listen, I mean, I guess this was one of the ground rules we could have covered. Family Guy. I mean, do animated comedies? They're kind of an adjacent.
Yeah.
I guess they would count.
There's I don't know. Community, I think, is a good one, but I'm going to go NBC with something I personally like. The Office is legendary, but because of the post Carell fall off, I actually think I put this pick above it in terms of overall stuff. So I feel like I'm getting better value than The Office here. Give me Parks and Recreation. Parks and Rec.
Okay.
Great writing.
Yeah. I haven't dabbled in Parks and Rec.
Oh, it's a lot of fun.
Gonna have to add it to the old list here, but yeah, I feel like NBC has just pumped out banger sitcoms for 30 years, including Saved by the Bell. By the way,
I didn't know
the
NBC
first.
Now though, because of your age, Phil, you watch Saved by the Bell in afternoon reruns, right?
Yes,
like I did, because it was a Saturday. It was a Saturday morning show originally.
Yeah, and then the only like first run primetime version of Saved by the Bell was the college years,
which I also watched. Yes,
that they thought would get the younger viewers to, and it was a disaster ratings wise. But a hidden gem in the archives of the Saved by the Bell universe. So here are the picks. Wow, what a snake draft! TV sitcoms. AJ winds up with It's Always Sunny, MASH, and Parks and Rec. Judd winds up with Arrested Development, Seinfeld, and The Office. I wind up with Curb Your Enthusiasm, Saved by the Bell, and Friends. And the voting will be available on the Score North Twitter account here like early afternoon on Friday. Mm-hmm. All right, dudes. I think they're kicking me out.
Is it checkout time?
I heard a knock here.
It's 11 o'clock, dude.
Is it the ghost or is it like hotel staff?
Oh,
it's the ghost of Daryl Kyle is here.
That's something else quickly that grinds my gears. Hotel checkout should be noon still. It used to be noon. Why is it 11? If there's an AM in the time, that is not checkout time. You're not kicking my ass out. And by the way, the room's not available technically till 3 o'clock. Are you telling me it's going to take you, 4 hours to clean my room? Unless I got really drunk and puked, it'll take you about 2 seconds to clean my room.
And that's what really grinds Judd's gears.
Car crash.
Checkout time. Bleep you. I'm sleeping.
For the angry sports dad, for AJ filling in for Dex, and for my fading ass voice, we just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. See you guys.